Hey everyone, we're here with Dr. Ian Price on the beautiful Pinegate saying professional spiritual teacher in Ottawa and the host of Gen Zen TV show also on YouTube. I visited my friend Ian today and he told me about a dream. And because I wasn't there to read his blog, I'm interviewing him here online. So Dr. Pradis, you had a dream, man. Well, you and Luther.
Call me Ian, please. I had a dream, and this was really quite startling because it was the basis of how I became a writer with a particular focus on the earth, on spiritual evolution. And the dream was quite startling, but it showed me exactly what I had to move towards. And if you don't mind if I read this out, I've got the paper on my left-hand side. I dreamt I was in a river running kayak, sitting quietly in a pool outside the swift eddies that raced the edge of a waterfall that was huge, sheer, with a vertical drop of 100 feet. The kayak was bright yellow. The short, stubby craft was an extension of my body. My wetsuit was black, and I wore a red life jacket tightly fastened. My helmet was also red. The shaft of the paddle was black, and the twin blades a dancing red. I looked around at the high mountains and forest. I noticed the mist rising from the swift-flowing river before pushing out into the racing eddies straight to the edge of the waterfall. As I went over the edge, I raised the paddle high above my head and leaned back into the kayak. I did nothing to steer or guide the kayak. The descent seemed forever, though timeless. Yet in a moment my craft had submerged into the river. Then I was bobbing on the surface, paddling downstream. My first thought in the dream was that I had blown it. That was a really bad run. I didn't do anything. Then moments later in the dream, I do lucid dreaming. I stopped my thinking and realizing it was the perfect run, precisely because I did not do anything. My lack of insight was that I had missed the surrender to the fierce current of the waterfall, to the awesome power of the stream of consciousness. And that's when I realized that how I was going to navigate my way through life, how I would write, was in terms of that stream of consciousness, which is forever evolving. So that made my writing sharper, more focused on the earth, on our spiritual evolution, and how one is very much tied into the other. So this dream was the catalyst, if you like, for a new light to go on inside me about how I would write.
And now, did you have that awareness right after the dream, or did it take you time to process, or how long, like between the dream and the realization and the aha moment?
It took me a while to realize that, okay, this stream of consciousness had already got hold of me. I was writing in a particular way. And then I became really aware that the different trilogies that I was writing were marked by the stream of consciousness that I deliberately follow. So in a sense, it was surprising, but not really surprising, because that was what was working within me.
Mm-hmm. Now, lately, I've been referring to you, younger, and this is not about ageism, people who are waking up now, let's say, within academia or journalism or anthropology or social activism. And like their heads are popping up, they're looking around, they see the ones who've gone before. You, Andrew Harvey, Hank Wesselman, all these people that have written the books already, been into the jungles and the mountains and the caves and written about it. What do you see that? Because in the last, short time, I've referred you 3 in that same genre, and I see you now turning back to help those up the ladder or up the cliff, to get the perspective you do. That's how I observe it as someone who's just the connector. What do you see? You're seeing a lot of young people around you lately. New, young, starting, emerging, whether it's an age or a state of consciousness new.
Yes, you're correct, and you are quite a connector. I've got a lot of young people getting in touch with me, and basically I just listen and then encourage. So, and this is very fruitful for me to see that, okay, just perhaps the hard-earned aspects
the work you've done
that drives me is trickling through to minds that are really, really wonderful.
So how do you answer the question? A lot of people come to me as the coach, I'm the sort of entry point for a lot of people. How do I make a living out of social activism? How do I make a living out of anthropology or raising the human consciousness, whatever their vehicle is, whatever their process is? You've done it. You've lived it. You obviously went through academia first.
Yes.
But it was always wrapped into social sciences as well. Could you tell people how now they could live with purpose and passion and still pay the bills so they can have the internet and the YouTube channel?
That's right.
If that's what they want.
Yeah. Well, that is a difficult obstacle, but not necessarily an obstacle. It's perhaps easier to have several jobs that one can do easily, which gives time to write, to advocate, to organize.
Also travel, right? Travel's a big part.
For me, travel was huge. I was very much a global traveler, and from the age of 17 on, and I was blessed to receive the manner in which many different people to me operated, and I would observe this and take some of it on.
What does that mean? I heard you. I don't understand you. Could you clarify, unwrap that for me?
Well, you see somebody doing something great. You just
model it.
I just observe it and see, am I able to do something?
Their solution. So you've seen their solution.
Yes.
Their way in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I try it on, and if it fits, I continue. So, and the way I've been able to continue over the last, say, 2 decades is really through my writing. This comes through very, very striking, because I sort of don't sanitize anything. I don't make things sound nice for the sake of being nice. I talk about the trials and troubles, and then the moving beyond. And coasting is the wrong word, but finding the way to put one's views out in a way that it can be received. Remember a long time ago, Michael Monner, who founded the Tone magazine in Ottawa, and I was having a talk with him, and I was saying, well, Michael, Tone magazine has got a lot of strange stuff in there. And he looked at me and said, well, why don't you write your own strange stuff? I will publish it. So he put me on the peg, and ever since then I've been writing a monthly column for Tone magazine, and I'm really glad that I'm doing that, because that allows me to express to friends in Ottawa exactly how I have moved, the difficulties and the joys. And
maybe you should put that column on YouTube so people not from Ottawa, you could read your column.
Sure.
Just like you just did now.
Sure.
So I'm introducing Ian to YouTube.
I'm the apprentice here.
I'm showing him how easy it is to connect with all you great people. So answer this question. Another question I get. I don't want to seem crazy talking about spirituality in social sciences or the human condition or a consciousness or God or creator or Zen or whatever the words are that you may, pepper in your writing or your experience. But anyone who's been in nature has that experience because that is nature, right? Whatever reference you give it, whatever label you call it. How do you answer that question?
I think
as an academic who can tell everyone.
Yeah. Well, as an academic, I crossed the lines. When I gave a course on ecology and culture, I brought in environmental ethics, which were basic Buddhist tenets, and and I knew I was taking a big risk, but I was encouraged by the viewing audience. This was a television program, who saying to me, this was the first time they had been faced with ethics, environmental ethics, and I was just borrowing from Buddhism, from Dick Pound's 5 mindfulness trainings, and I got different students. I invited them to, does anyone want to read one of these out, and then we would discuss it in detail. And it was the novelty of, in a 3rd-year undergraduate course on ecology and culture, here we have some philosophic and deeply Buddhist tenets of this is how you live. And it went over, but I'll be honest, I was nervous about whether I'd get a call.
But you were willing to take the hit, though. This is what I'm trying to tell people.
That's right.
When it's time, remember that saying in the war, it came, evil arises when good men, was that saying that goes, if it's only evil can rise when good men don't do anything? Correct. Or good people. Forget. Correct. What is that saying? What is it?
I can't remember.
Yes, someone, if you know what I'm talking.
Yes.
So it came out as a rise of the Hitler and people like that, and people just sitting back and doing nothing. So now we have ecology, environment, we have financial, we have government, we have education. We're getting hit right in all fronts of ecology.
And you have to be prepared to take the hit. I certainly was slightly nervous about that, but once I had done this on a TV program or on culture and ecology, it was wonderful to get the feedback from the wider audience plus the students that, okay, there is an ethical basis to navigate our world with
and still remain intelligent, cohesive, coherent, and respected, because that's what I think a lot of people who are growing up in this social activism space, whether it's public policy, social policy, anthropology, religion, legal, there's different entry points. They're worried about losing their status, which is kind of funny. That quote is actually very funny to me, right? In the general public, by calling it, by declaring it, by sharing it. I know when I was on television, I wanted to say it was 20 years ago on Rogers talking about God. And I actually said the word God. I didn't use creator. I didn't say, infinite. I didn't couch it. I said God. That was a big deal for Rogers back then, and it was actually the most popular show they had. And now people are understanding that concept without getting so much of that trigger because they understand it's just a word to reference a larger concept.
Yeah. Well, so things have moved. And that's what's permitted many young people who are absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
Are stepping out. And if I can be of any use to any of them, I'm available.
So this is why I'm here doing this for Dr. Prattis, because I know he is such a wonderful resource for anyone around the world. Skype and Zoom are available mostly everywhere. And he has been a resource to me and to the people I know and love and care and coach. And I just wanted to share Dr. Prattis with the world because, your books, your experience, your wisdom, you're just a great guy to have in your back pocket. riding the waves with you because he's done it. He's gone ahead. If someone wanted to start with reading one of your books, many books, but what's the one, talking from a general space around social activism, what's the one book they should start with?
I think my latest book, which is called Our World is Burning,
I would agree.
My views on mindful engagement, because this covers the spectrum of all our dealings with ourselves and with what is around us. And this particular piece, I was very nervous about bringing it out because it's 16 essays. And
I'm just going to reach over for it. Sorry.
There it is. Upside down.
Oh, it was this? No, it's just, it's not. I'm not that.
So in a sense, in a nutshell, this really is a statement of what I think has to be done. And it also, I give the tools to step forward. And I've been...
It's a map.
It is a map.
Yeah.
And I've been...
if you don't know where to start, it's a really good book.
I've been really humbled by the response to it.
Yeah.
So
when's the movie? So I'm shouting out to all the filmmakers, all the photojournalists, all the movement makers, you know, on social media, the disruptors, the influencers. This is a guy you need on your team, pushing the rock up the hill. So hit up Dr. Prattis at Ian Prattis. Is it ianprattis.com?
That's right.
Or on this YouTube channel, please subscribe to the Pine Gate Sangha. Tell us about Pine Gate Sangha and how it relates to you.
Well, Pine Gate Sangha was a community I created in 1997. And then I pulled it to a close in 2017 as I had to go through a whole series of...
Yeah, your own evolution.
Well, no, it was surgeries.
Well, it's an evolution.
I suppose that is an evolution.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
But that has opened up other things that I'm now available for, and I'm enjoying it.
And he is available. So hit him up at ianprattis.com. Subscribe to this channel. Give him a shout out. Give him some love, because Dr. Prattis is one of the nicest, kindest, and well-respected social activists on our planet. So Ian, always a pleasure.
Well,
I'm so glad you're my friend.
I'm so glad you're dealing so kindly with this techno peasant here.
Yeah, well, so am I. But hey, we got to do what you got to do. So the Rise of the Warrior, take some action, get his book, Our World is Burning. Until next time, I'm Jennifer Clark, and this is Dr. Ian Prattis. Be well.
Thank you. So